What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. At the moment, Luffy is facing off against Katakuri, and a lot of people, like me, think that he can't win without some sort of power up. And I'm joined today by Dustin to discuss what we think this might be. What's going on, Dustin?
What's up, One Vision? What's going on, guys? I'm one of the people that thinks Luffy has to beat Katakuri, and I'm here to explain how exactly that can happen.
Alright, so do you want to kick it off by saying how you think he's going to do it?
Well, I think it's obvious that he has to get some sort of power up. It's just a question in everybody's mind, what would that power up be and what to extent could it go to as far as for it to be believable and acceptable by the masses in the community? And I feel like one would be an awakening. Obviously, I don't know what that awakening would be. Some people theorize that it's Rubber World, which I really don't want it to be because I don't want every awakening to be the same as Doflamingo's, where your devil fruit just basically becomes its own world.
Yeah.
It can change the world around. But I think an awakening would be in a boost in power because Luffy has been shown that he's been able to be as physically strong as certain people who have an awakening, who have more experience with their devil fruits.
Yeah.
And if he's able to get an awakening, I think that would allow him to jump to a whole different level. And another way I see it going is him actually, watching Katakuri and overcoming the limits of Gear 4th and actually perfecting it and increasing the strength and speed of it without actually, being so big or having so much hockey overexerted at the same time.
Yeah, I like the way you added the last bit about him not being such a big form, because that's one thing I don't really like about how Luffy's forms are transitioning. Like, he started off, obviously his base form is Luffy, normal Luffy size, and then it goes to Gear 2nd, which is my favorite gear personally, but then Gear 3rd is all about making himself larger and dealing more damage with larger punches, larger kicks, all of that type of stuff. And then Gear 4th is basically an even larger version where he just makes himself bigger and faster again, and I kind of don't want it to go down that route where every form he just makes himself bigger and bigger and bigger. And I kind of feel like it scared me when they did Tank Man full version as well, because it was basically just another version of Gear 4th where he got even bigger. So I'm kind of hoping that if he does come out with a new gear, that they kind of take it back to the Gear 2nd roots. Kind of like if you see the background of this video right now, the image that I've got of Luffy there, I kind of want it to look a bit like that, where it's clearly still Gear 4th because he's got well, if it is another version of Gear 4th, then it's clearly still Gear 4th because he's got the tattoos and stuff, but he's just not all big and bulky anymore. I feel like that's going down the wrong route if he continues getting bigger and bigger like that.
I also see that Gear 4th is kind of the balance between Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd, because Gear 2nd has speed but no power, and Gear 3rd has power but not really any speed. Yeah. So Gear 4th, he is big in a way, but he's incredibly fast in Gear 4th, and he's incredibly strong in Gear 4th.
Yeah.
But he just uses a lot of hockey, which doesn't allow him to, be able to sustain that form for long. Yeah. So that's why I perfected Gear 4th, what I feel like would be more acceptable in a lot of people's eyes, even though I feel like a lot of people probably will still, try to discredit it.
Yeah, what I think Luffy's going to be using Gear 4 for is more of the situational confrontations, because we saw him against Cracker. He used Tank Man, which is an extremely slow form, but it's really durable and really strong. And then a lot of people are predicting that in this fight with Katakuri, he's going to use another form of Gear 4 where he basically enhances his speed tenfold. And I don't see how that's going to help personally, because they say, oh, Katakuri can see into the future, so all you need to do is be fast enough where he can't react to it. Well, we've seen Luffy do that already. He's used attacks like Gatling and stuff like that, where he's punching extremely fast to the point where Katakuri can't physically dodge every single one of those punches. But what Katakuri does instead is just let them phase through him, because Luffy's trading up his power in those punches for his speed. And I don't feel like that's the right way to go about it, because obviously if you're not punching hard enough to actually harm Katakuri, it doesn't matter how fast you are if you're not doing anything. So I feel like this next form of Gear 4th that they use is going to have something else other than pure speed to actually damage Katakuri. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I feel like this form also has to be something that's adaptable too, so that even when he faces even stronger opponents, it doesn't look just as one-sided as this moment is right now. I don't know exactly how Oda will be able to implement that, but I'm tired of Luffy getting power-ups, but there's major drawbacks to him, or they just get outclassed by the next person that we fight, because then you have the quandrum of whether it'll be an ass pull or not by people, and you get that whole conversation started. So I like the idea of what you're saying, and I do want to see something like that. It's just we're not sure what we're going to see and what will we really accept if we do see it.
Yeah, because I heard you say you wanted to see an awakening, and to be honest with you, I don't actually know what I want to see, because like I agree with you in terms of saying that it's not really time for Gear 5th yet. It doesn't feel like we've had Gear 4 for long enough. Like I remember you saying to me earlier that he hasn't perfected Gear 4th enough yet to then move on to Gear 5th. It just wouldn't make sense. It's like he's rushing to the next stages, and I don't want it to feel like that. But at the same time, I don't really feel like another version of Gear 4th is enough to beat Katakuri, because it's still Gear 4th. Like, it's not making you any stronger. It's basically like allocating attribute points. Like, you take some out of power to move it to speed, you take some out of speed to move it to power. At the end of the day, he's still Gear 4th Luffy. Yeah, I don't know what we would need to see. I wouldn't mind seeing like a sort of in-between type of thing. So it's not Gear 5th, it's not Gear 4th, it's just like a random power up. I don't know how they would do it,
because I don't know how Katakuri is just so much stronger than Luffy. Like, what does Luffy have to do in order to get that physically strong just in base?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's another thing, because Luffy never really works on his base form. I feel like if he was to work on his base form, just work on his haki and stuff, then he'll get stronger with every other Gear 4th. Like, I mean, with every other gear. Because you work on your base and you've got like the Gear 2nd multiplier of your base, and you've got the Gear 3rd multiplier of your base. Like, I know that's not exactly how it works. Like, this isn't Dragon Ball Z, but do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if your base form is stronger, everything else gets stronger with it. So I kind of feel like he needs to do that for a while. But in terms of this fight, he doesn't have time to work on that yet.
Well, I mean, he just right now, he's trying to focus on staying alive. I mean, really, because Katakuri handed it to him. But I feel like we're going to see the tide shift soon. But I don't know, is it just going to be one decisive moment where he just awakens? Or is he going to notice something that he like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't notice that before? And he's able to try it out, and it may not work as effectively as he thought it would, but he's figured he's onto something, and so he keeps using it, and he's getting better at it while he's fighting.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I noticed I made a video about, I think it was the how do we defeat Katakuri video that I made, and I pointed out that the only time Luffy actually hit Katakuri was when he used Red Hawk, and I speculated that it was because maybe the fire weakened the Mochi. And after all we've seen, there's also been theories going around that Luffy's gonna come up with a new form, which is him completely surrounded in fire, so that he can actually fight against Katakuri. And my problem with that is the fact that there would be no way to explain how he did it. Like, we already know so little about Red Hawk as it is, and how he actually manages to create the fire around his arm when he throws these punches. So having a whole form based on him surrounded in fire wouldn't really make sense to me. But it could be a way for him to actually fight against Katakuri if that is actually his weakness. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that, but I don't think I wouldn't like about it, besides the fact that you can't really explain it, it would be like, that's just for Katakuri. Like, I want his new form for something that would be able to take on anybody at any time. And it's something that he can, even if somebody's stronger than him, he can use that form, and he can, like, you know, be able to get stronger while using that form, to where he can like maybe like make a few tweaks to it while he's fighting, depending on the person, to where he can overcome it. Because if he's just like, okay, I came with this form just to beat Katakuri, then it's like, well, it's not really effective outside of fighting Katakuri.
Yeah, but then there's also the other side of the argument. What if he doesn't bring out a new form at all? If he doesn't bring out a new form, how do you think this fight ends?
What do you mean, like, even not, you're counting not perfecting Gear 4th as the new form?
Yeah, so no new form of Gear 4th, no Gear 5th, no awakening, like nothing like that. He just fights him as he is now.
Yeah, he'll lose. I mean,
he's gonna lose anyway.
Let's not do that. It's obvious that he can't beat him with the current capability that he has right now. So if he is going to beat him, he has to go beyond what he is currently. So if he doesn't go beyond what he is currently, beside the fact of that being complete garbage, it just, you know, he wouldn't win. I mean, it's just, there's no way he can win. But the reason I believe he's going to win is I expect him to, you know, I feel like Oda's writing it to where Luffy's about to get another, you know, strength feat or whatever.
And I know you don't have a problem with him just suddenly learning something on the spot, right?
No, I don't, because I feel like that's realistic to me. I feel like sometimes you have to train for something. Sometimes things come to you, you know, while you're actually, you know, some things you can only learn while you're actually going through a dire situation.
Yeah,
you know, and that's a form of training as well.
Yeah, I guess you're right in that sense, but I think that's where me and you, like, where our opinions differ the most, because I feel like it would be absolute bullshit if all of a sudden he learned how to awaken and he came up with a whole new gear at the same time. Like, I feel like that would be so bullshit, because then it would just like make me ask, why didn't he do this throughout this arc where he like struggled against Cracker, where he like, even when he went to go punch like Big Mom, right? Why would you do that in a form that you know isn't your strongest? Like, just that type of shit. Like, I know there are reasons, like story wise, why he wouldn't pull it out right then and then, but yeah, that's just my side of it anyway.
I think the thing with Big Mom was that he was just trying to, you know, show his toughness.
Yeah, he was trying to flex.
You know what I'm saying? That's all he was trying to do, to show he's not really backing down on her, but he wasn't really trying to fight her seriously. And I just think, as far, I mean, there's some things like, if you're taking Cracker, for example, you know, Nami kind of let him off the hook as to where he didn't have to really think anymore, because she gave him a plan that allowed him to use the, I don't know about a way out, allow him to work with a strategy to whereas he didn't have to think about any other strategies of his own. He could just use that strategy as to come up with a way for him to win using his strength. So I think but now he's in a situation where he has nothing but him, and this is where he's gonna have to either, I feel like, you know, show that what he's really worth and what he's really about, or he's gonna just, you know, learn that he can't just yell and scream and be able to beat somebody.
I mean, I feel like Luffy is kind of smart when it comes to fighting. Like, this still doesn't mean I expect him to immediately learn something new, like completely new, but I feel like it will be enough at least for him to understand how to use what he already has to win. Because, like, I mean, he showed this against Perospero, right? When Perospero threw that candy wall basically at him, right? He knew that the fire from Red Hawk would harm the candy, like, because he saw something happen from beforehand with Sanji's fire melting the candy, right? So he adapted to that quite quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised if he like threw a couple of punches with Red Hawk at Katakuri and then realized, oh shit, this is actually working, and then he ran with that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we saw, and then maybe that's how we get this whole fire form that people are like predicting might happen, which I don't know. But yeah.
Well, with this new form that hopefully we get, I just, like I said, just to summarize my points again, is that I would love to see an awakening, just to see Luffy get an awakening and see how that would actually work. And, you know, just to, you know, make theories about, you know, what it could mean in the future and what, you know, other things he could do with his Devil Fruit, possibly, you know, what possibilities is open up from here on out. Or I'd like to see him perfect Gear 4th, just to see what that would actually look like. Because I feel like Gear 4th can be a really a monster technique if it doesn't have any drawbacks. It's actually, you know, a mastered form, because it's really an OP form if you think about it.
Yeah.
See, so that's all I really have to say about, as far as what, because there's not really that much to say about it from what we've been given, but that's what, you know, I feel like from what we've been seeing and what we've been shown, that's some good things for you to be able to speculate on.
Real quick though, what do you think about Gear 4th becoming the, like, you know with Goku and Vegeta, right? How they unlocked this version of Super Saiyan 2. It was like, I don't remember what they called it, the Ultimate Super Saiyan 2 or some shit like that, where they just went really big and bulky, and it was just like they never ended up using it after that one time because they found it wasn't really efficient enough. But Trunks used it, and then Vegeta told him, that's not efficient, you need to figure out something new, right? How would you feel about Gear 4th becoming that form where Luffy tried it, it was powerful, but it just wasn't efficient enough, so he moved on from it without actually perfecting it?
Well, I don't know. I think they did perfect it. I don't want to get too far in Dragon Ball, but I do think they perfected it. I would feel like it would be okay for him to move on from it and to go into something else, as long as he goes right to Gear 5th.
Okay.
Unless Gear 5th is something that directly Gear 5th is a better version of Gear 4th than just calls it Gear 5th.
Exactly. Like, because I can imagine his next form being, you know how Rady like pointed out, oh, that's not efficient enough, you need something that's not so straining. I know that's not the exact quote, but like he basically told him, you need something that puts less of a strain on your body. Like, I can imagine him realizing his mistakes with Gear 4th, like jumping over to Gear 5th, which is what Rayleigh told him about.
I can see that happening as well.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think Luffy's new form will be, if you think he's going to get one, and if you don't think he's going to get one, let me know why too. Thank you, Dustin, for joining us on this video. Link to his channel will be in the description. Anything else you want to say?
Nah, man, just thank you for having me on, man. And, you know, this collabs with One Vision, man. You know, this collaborations, they're dangerous, so expect more.
Alright, man. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
One.